Life can feel unguided. When people are young, they can feel undisciplined and immature during important moments of their life. If One of the most important of these is what to do after high school. Well, here, many choose to go to college for higher education. And some, such as Matthew Rissinger, choose to enlist in various branches of the military. A benefit is of such is forcing these brave souls to gain discipline and maturity. Matthew Rissinger was born in Littis, Pennsylvania, to Troy and Robin. He went to John on Bonefield Elementary uh, and then Warwick Middle School, and then Warwick High School. He had two siblings named Isaac and Emma. After high school, he did not know where to go. He wished to go to college, but instead took some advice from his father, and took some time to mature. Then he chose to go to the Marines. He recounted one of his memories is from the end of basic training here.
Well, our senior drill instructor was Gunnery Sergeant Hudman. He was, I guess you would say the good cop approach. He was not the one who really laid into us and punished us the most physically. He was kind of the nicer, older, because he was older in age, a wiser guy who would kind of, after we got our butts kicked by the other drill instructors, he would kind of pull us in sometimes and give us talks. He was not nice to us for 1 second. It was not nice to us, but he was not as harsh. He was not as much of a disciplinarian. He was more about trying to teach us the lessons we could take from what we'd experienced with the other drill instructors. And I still remember him to this day. I remember what he looks like. I can hear his voice, the raspiness of it. It was clear he was a heavy smoker. And yeah, he was an amazing guy. One other thing I'll share about boot camp, probably my proudest moment about boot camp was in Marine Corps boot camp. You're not, at least when I was there, not sure if this changed or not. You have basically no contact with the outside world other than letters. Okay, you're not allowed to use your cell phone or use any phone the whole time. It's just forbidden. Only letters. Okay, so I received letters and I could write letters, but I had the exception to actually call home one time. And in the Marines, you have something called the physical fitness test. Okay, you do pull ups, you do sit ups, and you do a 3 mile run. And you do three of them at boot camp, one right when you show up, one in the middle, one at the end. And I trained really hard before boot camp and I was in good shape. And then I got in better shape throughout boot camp. And the last physical fitness test, I was the first person to finish the 3 mile run out of over 300 recruits. And I remember coming down the final stretch and seeing Gunnery Sergeant Hudman, Senior Drill Instructor Hudman, and he was amped up. He was cheering me on. He was amped up. And I found out later that basically there was a little pool of money to see which drill instructor's platoon would have the fastest runner. So I earned him some money. Anyway, that night during our 1 hour of letter writing time, he pulls me into the senior drill instructor office, and it's him and Gunnery Sergeant Garcia, and they hand me a Snickers bar, and they say, "You earned this because of my running." So I grab the Snickers bar and I start immediately like shoving it in my mouth and not even chewing it, just swallowing. Like, hey, 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 you can slow down and enjoy this one, buddy, because I was so used to just guzzling down my food. And then after I was done with the Snickers bar, they Gunnery Sergeant Hudman pulls out his phone, little old flip phone, right? You remember flip phones? Yep. Little old flip phone. He said, "One call, 2 minutes." So probably gonna get emotional. Anyway, sorry. I remember calling my dad, and he didn't answer. And he said, "Try him one more time." So I tried him one more time, got him on the phone, and I immediately started crying. And he got emotional, and it was just a beautiful moment. And then he said, "All right, that's it." And he snatched the phone back from me, and he got back. He said, "Get back out there. If we find out you told anyone about this, you're dead." Okay, not literally dead, but I would be in serious trouble. And yeah, so that's another memory I have of boot camp, something that'll be with me forever.
After all basic training, he was sent to Fort Leonard Wood, who was for MP school. with Leonard would, he was trained on OC spray by getting sprayed in the face and completing obstacle courses. Then he was sent to his first duty station in Okinawa, Japan. He repeatedly didn't like it. While there, he joined a special team and got demoted. He was part of an SRT, and while part of it, he got into some hot water. Well, he was in a hazing scandal as he was one of the men following orders from a superior member of the SRT. For punishment, he was demoted a rank and had to check into an office every hour, while the rest of the time him having to be in his room. It was a 10-minute walk to the place. Then after Okinawa, he went to Camp Pendleton, California. There he was much happier.
This is the U.S. of A. I'm back in my country. I'm here in beautiful California, and I just had a good mindset, good attitude, and I was sent to a field unit this time. So remember when I said about the field unit, how it's not the garrison. You're not like a regular police officer. You're more like an infantry marine where your work is training. Okay. So you're either training for something, you're out in the field doing some kind of exercise, or you're kind of sitting around with your thumb up your, you're sitting around waiting for somebody to tell you what to do and hoping that nobody notices that you're standing around. But I had to do weird stuff then. I had to like count rocks. I had to like clean grass, because some of the higher ups, they'll see people standing around like, oh, you don't have anything to do today. Well, why don't you do this? So then you go and do that. And you basically wait the whole day for that hour to come.
After some time, he was deployed to the Middle East in Bahrain.
Well, in Bahrain, it was something that I've never experienced, and I wouldn't want to again. You just suck it up and suffer through it. In the Marines, we would say embrace the suck, right? Marines is going to suck a lot of the time, just like life is going to suck, but you just have to embrace it, and you try to have a good attitude about it. Although that wasn't the case at all. I mean, a bunch of 21, 22-year-old dudes stuck in the heat, bored out of their minds, and all we did was complain. But you try to have a good attitude, and our trailers were extremely well air conditioned. So that was nice. So after our 12-hour day, you go back, you take a shower, and you lay in your bed until you fell asleep, and then you woke up and did the same thing the next day. So, you just try to keep your mind off of it. Really, you're standing there, you're sweating. I don't know. I always told myself that it could be worse. Could be worse. We also had there was just a ridiculous rat infestation on this base. So sometimes what we would do, especially at night when the rats were out and active, they would dart area to area, and sometimes we would just make a game of trying to step on them, and sometimes we could really get our boots on them and just, they splattered. But that was basically all the fun we could have. You just had to distract yourself. Luckily, you were always with at least one or two other guys. And if you were with one or two other guys, you could shoot the crap a little bit. Some guys you really liked shooting the crap with, some you didn't. So we had a platoon there, and we came up with a nickname for everyone in the platoon, and we actually had T-shirts made, and everybody got a T-shirt when we got back.
During his deployment, he got a strike of luck.
It was fantastic. One, in Jordan, the climate is different. You think it's a desert, so it's going to be hot, but it's not humid, right? There's no humidity. It was fantastic. The days were a little hot, but if you were in shade, wasn't that bad. Nighttime, it was beautiful. And also, we had a surplus of Marines there. We had too many Marines there. So guess what that meant? 4 hours of duty, then go do whatever you want, which didn't consist of much because we were in the middle of a desert, right?
To Jordan, his deployment was more or less over, and he was sent back to Camp Pendleton to finish his time.
So when I got back to California, I remember our CO, commanding officer, showed up in the parking lot and gave us some Domino's pizzas. We got home really late, gave us some Domino's pizzas, and we had a couple days off that they gave us. And me and my two other buddies that went back to the same unit, Zach Cotto and Anthony Mercado, we hung out together and just kind of did the stuff that we weren't able to do in deployment. So, we went out to eat, we drank some cold ones, we just did different things like that we missed out on. Played some video games, just stuff that a young 22-year-old does when they're away from their family and most of their friends. So it was just that kind of thing. And then I got back to work. Okay, so I had to go back to work, and I actually ended up getting FAPT, which is yeah, I can't remember what it stands. The Marine Corps loves acronyms, and I can't remember all of them. But FAP is basically where you get sent from one unit, you get loaned to another unit, like a piece of equipment. Okay, you get loaned to another unit. So I got loaned to another unit, but it was to the PMO, right? So the garrison police. So I was right back doing garrison police work, standing at the gate, doing patrols, and that's how I finished out my time in Camp Pendleton. And I think after deployment, I got back from deployment, I guess I would say, in, oh man, yeah, you know what? I don't know actually. October 15, maybe something like that. So I spent about a year doing this. Okay, and then went back to my field unit, and then I started the checkout process. So when I got back to Camp Pendleton, I just went day to day, and um, you know, did the police job basically until it was my time to get out, and then you start the checkout process, which is they give you a packet of all these signatures you have to get, and it's just the most ridiculous thing in the world. But you do it all. You go to all these appointments. You get all this stuff signed, and then that's when you get separated. So that's what I did up until that.
Now, before we get to what happened after, we have some other information to cover. He was promoted to Sergeant E5, but while in service, he earned the rank of, uh, of Corporal E4. Well, he earned 2 medals, the Global War on Terror Expeditionary Medal and the Global War on Terror Service Medal. After all that time, he got out. He spent some time sort of adrift, going from hostel to hostel while waiting to go on college. At college, he got a degree in French and then found a love of teaching.
Well, that isn't something that I felt like it kind of chose me in some sense because I never really thought about being a teacher. Actually, I had when I graduated from Indiana University with my bachelor's, I graduated in December, which is unusual. Usually, people graduate in March or May, and I had plans actually to apply to a business school in Paris and do a master's in business in Paris. And while I was going through that process, I saw a job in Indiana nearby my university that was offering a French teacher position for just a a long-term substitute because their French teacher had quit. So I applied for that job. I said, oh, why not? I'm not doing anything else right now. I might as well make a little money, use my skills. So I applied for that, got the job, really enjoyed it. And then the rest is kind of history. I decided, hey, you know what? I really like teaching. I'd like to move back to Pennsylvania, be closer to my family now. And I kind of put that other idea about going back to Paris and living in France again on hold because I thought, it's just time to. I was almost 30 at that point. I thought it's just time to, you know, I want to be closer to my family. Been gone for 10 years, most of the time, and I'm ready to just get back and be closer to my niece. I had a niece that was just born at that time, so I decided I wanted to be closer to family. Thought teaching was an awesome career, and then once I tried it out, the pretty good perks, right? Pretty good perks. Teaching's not a bad gig. I tell you what, there's a lot. It beats the heck out of working for a living. All the time off you get, right? 51% of the year basically is all I work, right? So that's 49% I get off. But it's pretty solid.
Taking some time to mature and gain discipline can really help in life. Matthew Rissinger chose to find it through his service in the Marines. An excellent choice, as it would be for many. As he said, the Marines break you down and build a better version of you. He gained discipline and maturity through his service, and when asked if he would do it again, he stated,
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. And I would encourage anyone who is even considering doing it to do it. Yeah, absolutely.
I thank you for your service. It's Corporal Matthew Rissinger.